John 1:1. In principio erat verbum, et verbum erat apud Deum, et Deus erat verbum. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with, or in the presence of, God, and the Word was God. This is the very first sentence of John's Gospel. And the first thing we might notice about it is that this initial phrase, in principio, matches exactly the first phrase of Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 in the Vulgate. In principio creavit Deus caelum et terram. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. It's principio with a long O because it's the ablative singular here, following the preposition in, of the second declension neuter noun principium, which means the same thing as initium. Both mean beginning. In the beginning was the Word. Erat, emphasis on the first syllable here, is from the verb sum esse, and it's the third person singular, imperfect, active, indicative. Was. He was. The word was, what in our second clause here? Was with, or in the presence of, God. Apud in the Vulgate means with, or in the presence of, or sometimes among, if its object is plural. And here we see it with the accusative case, as usual, which shows up in Deum. Finally, we have this phrase, Deus erat verbum, at the end of the verse. And this follows very closely the word order of the Greek New Testament, which has theos ein ho logos, and the Word was God. Verbum, of course, is repeated no fewer than 3 times in this verse, and it's a translation of the Greek logos, word. Here, Deus and verbum are linked by erat, form of sum esse, to be, and they explain one another, even though they don't look precisely the same. Why don't they look the same? Well, both belong to the second declension, but Deus is a masculine noun and verbum is a neuter noun. So even though they are in apposition to one another, Deus is the predicate of verbum, linked together by sum esse, which is a linking verb. They look different. In the 16th century, the humanist Erasmus, in his revision of the Vulgate, translated logos in the Greek New Testament, not with verbum, but with sermo. And this was very controversial. Many people objected to his modification of the traditional translation, but he could call on the authority of no less a figure than Augustine, who read this verse similarly in Latin, and also on the pre-Vulgate tradition of the Latin New Testament. Before Jerome began his work on the Vulgate, there were already lots of Latin translations of the Bible in circulation, and many of them translated ho logos with sermo rather than verbum.